Probably about 60 tonnes, okay? So as we've entered our gondola, we forced 60 tonne of water back out to the Union Canal, and then as this little Madeline has entered, they forced about 20 tonnes of water back out to the canal as well. So that's a combined 80 tonnes of water that's been forced out before the gates have sealed up behind us. So I would estimate that in our gondola just here, you've got us about 80 tonnes and about 220 tonnes of water beneath us. So 220 tonnes and 80 tonnes, those are 300 tonnes. That's the equilibrium of what the other gondolas are. Once that equilibrium is complete, the wheel operator begins his turn. And what we're turning on now is known as the slow gear. So there are 3 gears. There's a slow gear, there's a slightly faster gear. It runs about 2/3 of the speed. We use that for maintenance turns. And then there's the emergency stop button, which is the braking button essentially. If you haven't hit that, that would stop us. Now I want to touch a little bit about these gates at the front here, folks. These were made by Butterley Engineering just before the turn of the millennium down in Derby. And it's more of a visual thing, but if you can envisage the gate that's in front of us just now is going to line up with another gate, alright? So you're almost, I think you can see my hands, you're going to end up with something like that. Now, I'm going to come into the camera for this. So you're going to end up with 2 gates, something like this. Now, there's a little motor that'll get these gates started, just like so. And once there's sufficient water pressure above them, that'll keep them pinned down and then enable us to sail over the top. But for those that have been paying attention, not many I don't think, if you've got 220 tonnes of water one side of the gate, and you've got an entire basin of water, tons and tons of water pushing it against the outside gate, how on earth are these gates going to open? They're under immense pressure. You're going to hear it, folks. It's like a flushing sound. If you imagine a toilet flush, this is going to happen about 20 times the sound of that. And basically they're pinching water from that basin and filling the gap between the 2 gates, thus stabilising the water levels to take the pressure off the gates to allow it to open. So that's a wee synopsis, folks, of how it works. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask about the wheel?
Do you have any questions?
No. Some people wonder about these canal boats. They say, is there a fee or a toll for them to come through? And there isn't. There's no fee or toll. You could have your own narrowboat and wanting to move it from A to B. This is like it's a link to 2 waterways. So there's no fee or toll or charge for you. I think there's another question here. How long did it take to build? Very good question. So it was about 2 years, 2.5 years. Yeah. It was part of the Millennium Project. So there were 3 things. 3 things that were built. It was the Millennium Dome in London. Maybe you've seen or heard of that. Also the Spinnaker in Portsmouth, and this was the project in Scotland. So it was mostly lottery funded and government funded as well. It was a mixture of the 2. All right, that was a good question. Okay, folks. Well, if you do have any other questions, have a glare when we disembark. I'll sail us back to